Here's the breaking news right now. Project Veritas CEO reportedly fires all of the organization's staff. The nonprofit has been plagued by internal turmoil for the last year following the termination of founder James O'Keefe. The official Project Veritas X account, that's what was funny, X Twitter account, shared the message, SOS, Hannah Giles just fired us all. Such a weird goings on. An unnamed source confirmed to Timcast the Project Veritas staff has been let go and further claimed the chief financial officer for the nonprofit has resigned. The source told Timcast donations dried up. There was a massive drop in financial support and the writing was on the wall for months. Jack Posobiec, the senior editor at Human Events, also said a source had confirmed the validity of the message. All of production, all of field ops, all of comms, all of legal, the source told Posobiec, according to an online post. Only remaining are office admin, HR person, a couple development people, and IT. The organization, which has been known for breaking a number of significant stories, had been plagued by administrative turmoil this year. This is absolutely amazing to me and predictable. We knew it was only a matter of time. The Post-Millennial also has additional information. Breaking exclusive, chaos at Project Veritas. Almost all employees have been laid off. And they go on to add a little bit more here. She came to all hands in April with her, is a quote, with her fat sidekick Ben Wetmore, and all they did for 3 days was talk ish about James and relitigate all the terrible things he did to her and them 10 to 12 years ago. I knew right then her entire agenda was revenge. On-air talent Christian Hartsock, James Lilino were both laid off after Giles told staff that a restructuring would be underway. Kaylin Erickson, Jamie Phillips, Alyssa Dayan were also fired. The terminations were done via Zoom call with HR. With a few of those in the New York office, Giles did not make an appearance. She's a lying sack of ish, a source told the Post-Millennial. No one respected her anyway. Here's what I have to say about all this. If you still worked at Project Veritas, I don't know, I got very little sympathy for you. They came after founder and leader James O'Keefe. They tried to strip him of everything he built. And there were people who were party to the knives in the back of James O'Keefe, who signed a letter calling him out. So I just have to say, I'm not calling out anyone individually because I don't know who, but to all the people who stabbed James in the back and have now lost their jobs, I don't know, schadenfreude, like this is what you deserve. Did you think that this organization could survive without the man who built it and was doing the hard work and making the sacrifices to keep it up and running? These people firmly believed they were the ones doing it all. And surprise, surprise, the moment you betray your leader, all the money's gone. They bring in a shark who then nukes you. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a wild year. Do you guys remember that coup at Project Veritas? The thing that stands out to me the most is that letter that was signed by like 16 employees. They had all these, they said that James is a tyrant. He does all these terrible things. They had all these examples. One was that this donor felt like, he hadn't been friendly to her or something. And then afterwards, that donor was like, that's not what happened. That's not it at all.
He was like short with some woman. And then they were like, what are you talking about? James was perfectly polite.
It was totally fine.
He stole a woman's sandwich.
So this group of people that said we can do it without him thought they could also hold on to the donors who were paying for James O'Keefe, right?
That organization, it was called Project Veritas, but it was James O'Keefe.
Yeah.
So the second he's gone, what are you donating to? It was his investigative journalism and tactics that people were watching. He was the face of it. The second that he was gone, I just don't understand what they thought would happen. Especially, today, I know you said this, that, according to the reporting, they were fired. They weren't fired. The bottom line is they ran out of money. I don't know the finances, but let's stop kidding around. Once he left, it dried up, and at some point they said, we can't pay you anymore. Call it what you will.
Well, and why didn't they lead off with firing their development team? Development people are supposed to raise money.
I think they have money, but I think money's not coming in. Because if you look at their 990s, they had millions of dollars. And so what's probably happened is they probably looked at the finances and said, we got no donors. We got a couple million in the bank. At this rate, we will be totally, we'll be defunct insolvent in 6 months. So they're like, okay, fire everybody now. And Veritas will function to some degree for a few years.
But the funny thing is, I do believe, and obviously the O'Keefe Media Group that he started, these people bought into a mission. Okay, they wanted to see things exposed. Without the Project Veritas being any kind of an alternative, which Right now, this is actually going to be a boon for him, I think, because they're going to go, okay, like, let's just go back to basics. I mean, maybe he stole someone's sandwich, but the bottom line is, but the point is, like, here's what we've invested in to begin with. Let's go back to the OG.
Yeah, I think the employees actually that are getting fired might actually go work for O'Keefe Media Group, and it's like,
no, they will.
Is he going to have a back?
They might want to go work for O'Keefe Media Group,
but James,
he's going to do his own little investigative journalism and be like, I have a video of you, a tweet from you, and an email from you, and you're not working for me.
It reminds me of Alexander the Great when he was on campaign. His men just got to the point where they were fed up. We're like, we're leaving, and he was like, fine, leave. So they all. He gave a speech, and he was like, get out, go home, tell him you left me here. And then a couple days went by, and the men like realized what they'd done, and they went back to Alexander and begged to be let back
because they were starving and lost. And
maybe he gave this rousing speech, and they all realized like what they would really be leaving. And
here's what I think.
The speech is pretty incredible, and so he took them back. He's like, you're all my brothers.
This reminds me. This has a touch of an element of leftism, entitlement, arrogance. James O'Keefe starts this organization. He sacrifices. He gets raided by the feds. He gets sued over and over again. He's the tip of the spear. He's the front face, the front man of this organization, taking all the heat and working nonstop. He brings people onto a system. At some point, they get in their minds that he's the bad guy and they should take over, and that they'd be fine without him. And then it all comes crumbling down.
You know what I find fascinating, by the way? So many times, organizations like the one that James founded, you hear the founder at some point starts to grift. They steal. They get too big for themselves. That was never the case under him. As big as they grew, as much money as they brought in, there's not, I mean, to your point, like this is a nitpicky thing that they went after him on. And I don't know all the claims, but it was never about stealing or living the high life or buying expensive cars. And
a couple things were.
Okay.
Yeah, they claimed that like he paid his own wedding or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, and again, I'm not. But so many of these organizations are get to that point where it topples on itself. He stayed true to the mission, right? And I think that sort of is an interesting thing for me to watch, because then he goes and does O'Keefe Media Group, and it's like, all right, and he seems to have at least getting back to getting enough people to help fund that. But I just find it funny that these guys thought that they could do it without him.
Yeah. If you have a heart issue, don't rip your heart out. I mean, you got to heal the thing, have James sitting down and talk
to Tim's earlier point, if they were trying to keep this thing going for a year or two, you fired your entire content team, like the people who are going to do the investigative journalism, which is theoretically what people were donating to support in the first place. Now you have an HR person and more people to fundraise. Like there's nothing there. You have lost sight of your mission.
They're wearing Veritas like a skin suit, and everyone can see right through it. That's just it.
If James had been like, I'm going to leave, if it was his decision and he was like, everyone continue to support this creation that I've been a part of, I think it would be fine. I think people would have stayed on.
Yep. Sure. But they stabbed him in the back. And a bunch of people who worked there signed a letter stabbing him in the back, despite the fact the letter said, some of us haven't been witness to any of this, nor have we ever been wronged by James O'Keefe, but we're signing the letter anyway. And it's like, oh, I was waiting for this moment for these people to get their comeuppance.
I wonder how many of them. Do you think James will hire any of them?
Some of them. I bet some of them are probably just, like, I have no idea. I bet some of them are still in contact with James saying, I'm so sorry this happened. People who didn't sign that letter accusing him of wrongdoing. I got to tell you, if I worked for Veritas and I was, out with James for whatever reason, and I bought myself the most delicious chicken bacon ranch sandwich, and James walked up and says, I haven't eaten all day, I need your sandwich, dude, I'd be like, bro, no problem. I'd be like, you're busting your ass, you're working really hard, I will go get another sandwich. The idea that they signed this letter of abuse because he allegedly took a sandwich, I'm just like, you people are so petty. You know what, man, I'm glad that he was able to get out, and I am glad that he was able to start. I believe OMG is a for-profit private entity now. Good.
Yeah, he owns it.
Now he has. See, the problem with a nonprofit. First of all, James deserves as much money as he decides for the work that he does. And with a nonprofit, you're limited, right? You have to, when you're filling out paperwork, you have to sign how much people are going to get paid. Are there going to be any employees who make more than 6 figures? And I think the 990s showed that James was getting around $300K per year. Leading what were they, like an 8-figure organization? Some of the most influential with some of the most vital and important groundbreaking reporting. The Amy Rohrbeck story on Epstein. And here's James O'Keefe getting, like a mid-tier, like VP salary level, which is hey, it's good. I'm not coming out $300,000 a year. But the level of influence and work that he did, he should decide if he wants more. But more importantly, if James wants to buy himself a Lamborghini, I hope he does. He deserves it. But as a for-profit organization, James can, without any question, without any board members, without any legal paperwork, choose to hire whoever he wants, fund whatever he wants, launch documentaries, do all of these things, and it's much, much easier and much, much more effective for him to do this. He doesn't have to worry about now. So they accuse him of taking too many black cars, night vehicles to and from. And I'm like, yeah, people want to kill this guy. The least you can do is give him an Uber, between locations. And they're like, no, it's wasting money.
He's not like an executive at St. Jude's,
also,
right? Like he needs more protection.
But get back to the nut of this. The donors are giving it because of him.
Yeah.
Right. This is not like they installed this guy and said, wow, we brought you into this organization. He built it. The donors are buying into him and his work. So if he wants to take a car here or there, to your point, Tim, about safety and just efficiency.
Comfort.
Yeah, but this is not, again, this isn't, it's not like they're like, by the way, he was taking a G5, from DC to his place in the Hamptons. This is, I want a black car that I know that the driver's going to be safe, that I'm going to, this is not excess.
This is the benefit of a private organization, having a private entity. James will not be scrutinized for saying, hey, he came out here a couple times, and in order to do so, they had to do a private charter. I think a private charter for between here and New York round trip is like $10,000 to $13,000. James is at this level, and I've explained this to a lot of people. There's no way someone with the workload of James O'Keefe is going to drive the 6 or 7 hours down here to come on the show, or drive back, or wait in the airport and dedicate a whole day or two to travel. He's like, hey, I've got a bunch of meetings today. I can go on Tim Pool's show. We got to get a private charter. We step in, we get the plane. We're there in an hour. Boom, we're gone. We're back in New York the next day. Certain levels of work and responsibility require things like this. Now, don't get me wrong. Like when the global elites are like, oh, this climate change is a big problem, but they're going to fly in private jets. Yeah, we can criticize that. I'm not going to criticize someone for saying the only way I can do this is if I get a private charter.
Yeah, I don't think the logistics of his career are that unreasonable, especially if he has that much to do. I mean, he has a ton of risk because he isn't just like a nonprofit leader. He is a public face. People are very angry with the work that he does. There is more of a target on his back. And I will say, I think this is sort of the problem with nonprofits. I think a lot of people start nonprofits because they see, people can donate to me and it's a tax write-off and then I can get support. I don't know how I would make money off of this, but I do want to dedicate my life. It's very mission driven. But nonprofits are ultimately ruled by a board, and that can be detrimental, as we saw.
And they betrayed him. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.